The echo of heavy footsteps filled the long marble hallway. The doors creaked open. Mr. James, the 31-year-old billionaire tech CEO, stepped into his mansion in Lekki. He wasn't supposed to be home yet, not for another week. But the board meeting in Abuja had been postponed, and for the first time in a long while, he wanted to surprise his mother. He dropped his suitcase quietly near the door, expecting to see his mother, Rebecca, still in her wheelchair like when he left. But instead, what he saw froze him. Right there. In the middle of the living room, his mother was standing. Her hands shook, her legs trembled, but she was standing. Beside her, holding her arms gently, was Amanda, the poor orphan girl he had hired a year ago as a maid. She was whispering softly, "Just one more step, Mama Rebecca. You can do this." "I'm right here." Tears filled Rebecca's eyes as she limped forward, leaning on Amanda's shoulder. James dropped his car key. It clattered on the tiled floor. Amanda gasped and turned, shocked. "Sir, you're back," she stammered, eyes wide, sweat on her forehead from the effort of supporting the older woman. James didn't answer. His heart pounded as he walked closer. His mother, the same woman doctors said might never walk again, was on her feet. "Mama!" His voice broke. "How?" Rebecca smiled weakly. "Your maid, no, your angel. She refused to give up on me." For the first time in years, James, the man whose name opened doors and whose wealth filled magazines, fell to his knees and cried. 1 year earlier, Amanda stood at the massive gate of the mansion for the first time, clutching a small nylon bag that held her clothes. The security man eyed her suspiciously. "You sure you're the one they sent for?" he asked. She nodded nervously. "Yes, sir. Madam's son said I should come for interview. My name is Amanda." When she entered, she saw Rebecca, the billionaire's mother, in her wheelchair, kind eyes but tired and broken. Her legs looked thin and stiff, covered with a blanket. "Come closer, my dear," Rebecca said softly. "You look so young. How old are you?" 23, Ma, Amanda replied. That was how her new life began, as a maid in a house where silence lived louder than laughter. Mr. James was kind but quiet. His life was all business meetings, video calls, and deadlines. He often passed Amanda in the hallway with a polite nod. He had lost his father long ago, and his mother was all he had left. But seeing her suffer in pain had turned him into a man of few smiles. One morning, just before he left for his Abuja trip, he met Amanda in the kitchen preparing his mother's breakfast. "You've been a great help," he told her sincerely. "I'm trusting you with my mother's care while I'm gone." Amanda nodded, holding her breath. "I'll take care of her as if she's my own mother, sir." He smiled, a rare one, and left. But what followed changed everything. The first week was hard. Rebecca refused to even try standing. Her fear was stronger than the pain. "If I fall, I could die," she would say. Amanda knelt beside her, holding her hand. "Mama Rebecca, have faith. Just try. You won't fall, not while I'm here." She began singing for her every morning, old hymns, soft and warm. Each day Rebecca tried a little more. From moving her toes, to lifting her knees, to holding on to Amanda's arm and standing for seconds. By the second week, Amanda had started placing short sticks along the corridor to help Rebecca practice balancing. She clapped and cheered like a child every time the older woman took a step. "That's it, Mama. One more. You're walking." And that was the moment James walked in unannounced. He stood at the door, unseen, watching Amanda lift his mother's hand and sing, "You're stronger than you think, Mama." He couldn't hold it anymore. He called out, his voice trembling, "Mama?" Both women turned. The look on Rebecca's face was pure joy, while Amanda looked terrified, unsure if she had done wrong. James rushed forward, holding his mother tightly, still in disbelief. "Amanda, how did you do this?" Amanda wiped her tears and whispered, "She just needed to believe again, sir. I only reminded her." Rebecca smiled through her tears. "James, this girl didn't just clean my room. She cleaned my soul." But just then, a voice from upstairs interrupted the warm moment. "Who is that girl?" James turned. Standing on the stairs was a woman in a red dress, his ex-girlfriend Sonia, someone he hadn't seen in months, and someone Amanda had never met. Her eyes were full of jealousy as she glared at Amanda. James, Sonia said coldly, what exactly is going on here? The air in the mansion suddenly turned heavy. Sonia's heels clicked sharply on the marble floor as she descended the staircase, her eyes locked on Amanda like a hawk spotting prey. Amanda froze beside Rebecca, unsure if she should kneel, speak, or run. James stood between them, still trying to process everything. Sonia, he said quietly, what are you doing here? Her red lips curled into a small smile, but her tone was bitter. I came to see you, James. Your assistant said you were back from Abuja, and I wanted to talk. But I didn't expect to see. She turned sharply toward Amanda. Your maid holding your mother like that. Amanda bowed her head immediately. Good afternoon, Ma. Don't ma me, Sonia snapped. Is this how you do your job? Playing nurse when you should be cleaning floors? Rebecca frowned. Young lady, watch your tongue. This girl has done more for me in 2 weeks than anyone has in 2 years. Sonia's face tightened. With all due respect, Ma, she's a maid, not a physiotherapist. James rubbed his forehead. Enough, Sonia. Amanda helped my mother walk again. She deserves thanks, not insults. But Sonia wasn't listening. Her eyes darted between them, the trembling old woman, the calm maid, and the man who looked at that maid with gratitude too deep to hide. And jealousy began to burn inside her. That night, Amanda stayed in her small room behind the kitchen, replaying everything in her head. She had done nothing wrong, yet she felt uneasy. Sonia's glare still haunted her. She sat by her bed, whispering softly to herself, God, I only wanted to help. Please don't let this job go away. I've come too far. She pulled out an old photograph from under her pillow, a small faded picture of her late parents. Her mother had died when she was 10, her father when she was 15. Since then, she had worked any job she could find, cleaning, washing, even hawking pure water on the streets. This was the first job where someone had treated her like a human being. She couldn't lose it now. The next morning, Sonia appeared at breakfast, dressed in a silk robe, acting like she owned the place. Rebecca was already seated, and Amanda was setting the table. James was reading a newspaper quietly. Sonia leaned closer to him. James, don't tell me you've forgotten what happened the last time you trusted a stranger. He looked up. What are you talking about? She smiled thinly. The driver who stole from you, the cleaner who leaked your company files. You're too kind sometimes. You let these people too close. Amanda stopped pouring tea. The words stung. These people. Rebecca noticed her silence and said calmly, Not everyone is bad, Sonia. Some people just need a chance. But Sonia smirked. Or maybe they're just pretending. Amanda excused herself quietly and walked out to the garden. Her heart was heavy. She didn't want to cause trouble, especially when the woman she cared for was finally smiling again. Later that evening, James walked into the garden and found Amanda sitting on the bench under the mango tree. She was staring at the flowers, lost in thought. He sat beside her, holding 2 cups of juice. Here, he said. She hesitated before taking it. Thank you, sir. James sighed. Don't let Sonia's words bother you. She likes to talk too much. Amanda looked down. It's okay, sir. People always look at me that way. I'm used to it. He studied her quietly. You shouldn't be. You did something even doctors couldn't do. You gave my mother her legs back. Amanda smiled faintly. No, sir. I just gave her hope. Sometimes that's all a person needs. For a long moment, neither of them spoke. There was something in the air, unspoken, soft but strong. Just then, Rebecca's nurse came rushing from the house. Sir, Madam Rebecca, she fell. James sprang up. What? Amanda's cup dropped from her hand as they ran inside. Rebecca was lying beside her walker, breathing fast. Sonia stood nearby, holding a glass of spilled water, pretending to be shocked. She was trying to walk to the dining room, Sonia said quickly. I told her to wait, but she insisted. Amanda knelt beside Rebecca, checking her pulse. Mama, can you hear me? Rebecca groaned softly. James helped lift his mother onto the couch, panic on his face. Call the driver. We're going to the hospital now. Amanda turned to him. Sir, I think she just fainted. Let me get the medicine. But Sonia snapped, Don't touch her. You've done enough already. Amanda froze. The words hit her like a slap. James glared at Sonia. Enough. She's helping. He turned to Amanda, his tone gentler. "Please get the medicine." Amanda ran upstairs, heart racing, as Sonia's eyes followed her with silent rage. And in that moment, Sonia whispered under her breath, "Let's see how long your kindness lasts." The mansion was silent that night. The only sound was the ticking clock in the hallway and the faint hum of the air conditioner. Rebecca had been taken to the hospital for a quick checkup and later brought back home. The doctor said it was only stress and low blood sugar, not a serious fall. Still, James couldn't shake off a strange feeling. Something about Sonia's story didn't sit right with him. He sat quietly in his study, staring at the firelight flickering across his mother's photo. His thoughts kept drifting to Amanda, the way she ran for help, how her hands didn't tremble when she cared for his mother. Then the door creaked open. Amanda stood there, her hands clasped nervously in front of her. "Sir, I just came to check if you needed anything before I retire for the night." James smiled faintly. "No, Amanda, thank you." He hesitated. "Actually, sit down. I want to ask you something." Amanda hesitated but obeyed. She sat carefully on the edge of the chair opposite his desk. "How did you learn to help people the way you helped my mother?" James asked. Amanda looked down, her voice soft. "My mother was a nurse, sir. Before she died, she taught me how to care for the sick. She used to say, healing isn't just medicine. It's love." James nodded slowly. "Your mother must have been a good woman." "She was, sir," Amanda said, smiling faintly. "We didn't have much, but she taught me never to treat people by their wealth, but by their heart." There was silence again. For a moment their eyes met, his filled with gratitude, hers with quiet humility. Then the study door burst open. Sonia stood there, holding a glass of wine. "Well, isn't this cozy?" she said with a smirk. "Late-night meetings with the maid, Mr. Billionaire." Amanda quickly stood up, lowering her head. "I'm sorry, sir." James sighed deeply. "Sonia, please, this is unnecessary." She laughed bitterly. "Unnecessary? You're sitting here praising a maid while I've been waiting to talk about us all day." "There is no us, Sonia," he said firmly. Her smile vanished. "What did you just say?" James stood up. "I ended things months ago. You knew that. I respected you, but I don't love you anymore." The glass in her hand trembled, then she threw it to the floor, shattering it. "You'll regret this, James. You think this girl is what you need? You don't even know who she really is." Amanda gasped. "What do you mean?" Sonia laughed coldly. "Ask her where she's really from. Ask her why she looks so familiar to your mother." She stormed out, leaving the room in heavy silence. Amanda's hands shook. "Sir, I swear I don't know what she's talking about." James raised a hand gently. "It's okay, Amanda, don't mind her. She's trying to stir trouble." But the words Sonia said wouldn't leave his mind. "Looks familiar to your mother." That night, after everyone had gone to bed, James couldn't sleep. He walked into his mother's room quietly to check on her. Rebecca was sleeping peacefully, her walker beside the bed. But something caught his eye, a small old photo frame on the bedside table. It was a black and white photo of a young nurse, smiling, in uniform. She looked almost exactly like Amanda. He picked it up, his heart racing. "No, this can't be," he whispered. Just then, Rebecca stirred and opened her eyes. "James, what are you doing up?" He hesitated. "Mama, this picture." "Who is this?" Rebecca smiled faintly. "That's your late nanny, Grace. She worked for us before you were born. She disappeared one night. She was pregnant then. I never saw her again." James froze. "Pregnant?" "Yes," Rebecca whispered, her eyes closing again. "She said she had no one to turn to. I always wondered what happened to her child." James stood there, the picture trembling in his hand, his mind racing. Could it be? Could Amanda? The next morning, Amanda came to help Rebecca dress up. She greeted her warmly as usual. "Good morning, Mama Rebecca," she said, gently brushing the older woman's hair. Rebecca smiled. "You remind me so much of someone. Your eyes, they look just like Grace's." Amanda froze. "Grace?" "Yes," Rebecca nodded. "She used to work here many years ago. You could be her daughter." Amanda's hand trembled as she brushed. "My mother's name was Grace." Rebecca's eyes widened. "What did you say?" My mother's name was Grace, Amanda repeated, tears filling her eyes. She told me she once worked for a rich family in Lagos, but she never said who. Rebecca gasped, covering her mouth. My dear, I think you're the child she lost. The brush dropped from Amanda's hand. She stepped back slowly, her breath catching. What? What do you mean, Mama Rebecca? Rebecca held her hand, tears streaming down her face. If your mother was Grace, then you've just come back to the same house where she once served, where you were almost born. Amanda's legs weakened. She sat on the floor, crying silently. And at that moment, Sonia appeared at the door, smirking. Well, isn't that interesting? The poor maid turns out to be part of the family. But let's see if James believes it. The words hung in the air like thunder that refused to fade. Amanda sat on the cold marble floor, her face buried in her palms. Rebecca's trembling hands rested on her shoulders, trying to calm her down. Sonia stood by the door with a wicked half-smile, feeding on the chaos she had just witnessed. James walked in a few seconds later, confused by the noise. What's going on here? Rebecca turned to him, tears still fresh on her cheeks. James, this girl, Amanda, she's the daughter of Grace. James frowned. Grace? Mama, who's Grace? Rebecca took a deep breath, her voice soft but heavy with memory. The nurse who looked after me before you were born. The one who disappeared suddenly. She was pregnant when she left, and now... She pointed toward Amanda. I think this is her child. James looked from his mother to Amanda, then back again. That's impossible. You mean she's... Yes, Rebecca said. She might have been born right under this roof. Amanda's tears wouldn't stop. She tried to speak, but her voice broke. Sir, I swear I didn't know. My mother told me she once worked for a family in Lagos, but she never said who. I never even knew their names. James rubbed his forehead, pacing slowly. So all this time... Sonia stepped forward quickly, cutting him off. Oh, don't let her fool you, James. How convenient that she suddenly remembers this story now that she's gaining your trust. Amanda looked up, her eyes red. That's not true. Sonia folded her arms. Please, you're a smart man, James. She's been in this house for a year. Now she's found a way to crawl into your mother's heart and maybe even yours. Wake up. Enough, Sonia, James snapped. This isn't the time. But Sonia wasn't finished. No, it's exactly the time. You think it's a coincidence your mother's precious maid happens to have a sob story that fits so perfectly into your family's past? Rebecca turned sharply. Sonia, stop it. You've said enough. The old woman's voice was firm now, full of a quiet authority that silenced the room. If Amanda is Grace's daughter, then she belongs here. Your father trusted Grace with his life before he died. I will not have her child treated like dirt. Sonia's face hardened. So now the maid is family. Wonderful. She turned and stormed out, her heels clicking angrily against the tiles. That night, the mansion felt heavier than ever. James sat alone in the living room, the photo frame in his hand. He kept staring at the young nurse's face, the same eyes, the same gentle smile Amanda had. The resemblance was undeniable. Amanda stood by the door quietly. Sir, may I come in? He nodded slowly. Yes, please. She stepped closer, her hands clasped tightly. Sir, I understand if you don't trust me anymore. I didn't mean to hide anything. He looked up at her. Amanda, I don't think you're lying. I just need time to understand. Her eyes softened. Take all the time you need, sir. I'll still take care of Mama Rebecca, like always. James gave a small nod. She's been asking for you, actually. She says you sing better than the radio. Amanda laughed weakly through her tears. She's kind, sir. That's why she's healing. The moment felt warm, fragile but real. Then suddenly, the front gate slammed outside. A loud car horn blared. James frowned. That sounds like Sonia's car. Before he could move, the security guard rushed in. Sir, Madam Sonia just left in your Lexus, the one parked in front. What? James shouted, jumping to his feet. Yes, sir. She said you sent her to pick something up from your company, but she was in a hurry. James's heart sank. No, she has access to the building system. Amanda blinked. What does that mean? It means, he said grimly, she can get into my office servers, all my company's private files. Rebecca's voice came from the hallway, weak but worried. James, what's happening? He turned to her quickly. Mama, stay inside. Sonia's doing something stupid. I'll handle it. But Amanda stepped forward. Sir, let me come with you. Please, she might destroy something important. James hesitated, then nodded. Fine, get your jacket. We're going to Bentech headquarters, now. They drove through the silent Lagos streets. Rain beginning to drizzle against the windshield. The night felt heavy, like a storm was building. Inside the car, James gripped the wheel tightly. I trusted Sonia once, he said bitterly. She knows all my company codes. If she deletes our data, years of work will vanish. Amanda stared out the window, whispering, Sir, maybe she just wants to scare you. He shook his head. Sonia doesn't scare, she destroys. Lightning flashed in the distance as they turned toward the Bentech gate. The building lights glowed faintly against the rain. Amanda's heart thudded fast. Sir, look. Through the glass doors, they saw Sonia inside the office lobby, standing in front of a computer, typing furiously. James slammed the car door open and ran inside. Sonia, what are you doing? She looked up, startled but defiant. You took everything from me, James, so I'll take your precious company too. He lunged toward her just as she hit enter. The screen flashed red. System wipe initiated, Amanda gasped. Sir. Stop her, James shouted. Sonia pushed him away, her eyes wild with tears. If I can't have you, you'll have nothing left either. The alarm blared. Red lights filled the room. Amanda rushed to the system control, frantically trying to press keys. Sir, maybe we can stop it. James joined her, his fingers flying across the keyboard. But the computer kept flashing one warning message after another. Data deletion, 60 seconds remaining. Rebecca's voice echoed faintly from James's phone on speaker. She was calling him from home. James, what's happening? I can hear alarms through the camera. James shouted, Mama, stay calm. We'll fix it. But just then, Amanda noticed something strange. An external hard drive plugged into the system, blinking rapidly. She pointed. Sir, that's where it's coming from. Without thinking, she yanked the drive out. Sparks flew, and the screen went black. For a moment, silence filled the office. Then James stared at the monitor. The deletion stopped. He looked at Amanda, soaking wet, shaking but brave. You saved the company. She smiled weakly, holding the burnt drive in her hand. I just did what was right. Sonia, standing by the corner, broke into tears. Why do you always win, Amanda? James looked at her coldly. Because she has something you never had. A heart. Rain poured outside the Bentech headquarters as the chaos slowly settled. The red alarm lights had gone off. And security officers had escorted Sonia away, her face pale, her voice trembling as she screamed James's name. But James didn't look back. He was kneeling beside Amanda, who sat on the cold office floor, holding the burnt flash drive that had nearly destroyed his entire company. Her palms were bruised, but she didn't care. Are you hurt? He asked softly, helping her up. Amanda shook her head, smiling faintly through tears. No, sir, I'm fine. I'm just happy it's over. James stared at her for a long moment, his voice shaking slightly. You risked your life for this company. For me, and still call me sir? Amanda looked down shyly. You've been good to me, sir. I only did what I could. He took a step closer. You did more than that, Amanda. You saved my mother. You saved my home. You saved me. There was silence between them, filled only by the sound of rain against the glass walls. For the first time, James saw her not as a maid, not as an employee, but as the woman who had brought life back into everything he loved. By morning, the storm had passed. The sun stretched lazily over Lagos, painting gold across the sky. Rebecca sat on the veranda, wrapped in a blanket, smiling as Amanda brushed her hair. Her steps were stronger now, her laughter brighter. You know, Rebecca said teasingly, I told James last night that if he doesn't marry you, I will disown him. Amanda's eyes widened. Mama, Rebecca chuckled. You think I don't see how he looks at you? That boy has been lost since his father died. You brought him back. Before Amanda could reply, James appeared holding a bouquet of fresh flowers. He was dressed in a simple white shirt, looking more at peace than he had in years. "Mama," he said, smiling, "you're looking well." "I have the best nurse in Lagos," Rebecca replied, winking at Amanda. Amanda laughed nervously and began to stand, but Rebecca gently pushed her back down. "Stay seated, my dear. He's here for you." Amanda blinked, confused. "For me?" James came closer, his eyes warm but serious. "Amanda, from the first day you entered this house, you changed everything. You brought kindness where there was silence, and hope where there was fear. You reminded me that love isn't found in status or wealth, it's found in character." Amanda's lips parted, tears filling her eyes. He knelt down on one knee, right there before his mother. "Amanda Grace, will you marry me?" Amanda gasped. Her hands flew to her mouth as the flowers trembled in his hand. "Sir, James, I'm just a maid." "No," he said gently, taking her hand. "You're the woman who helped my crippled mother walk again. You're the woman who saved everything I worked for. You're the woman I prayed for, even when I didn't know it." Rebecca clapped her hands, her eyes glistening with joy. "Say yes, child. Love doesn't knock twice." Amanda's tears spilled freely as she nodded. "Yes, yes, I will." James pulled her close as Rebecca laughed happily. The staff who had gathered quietly at the veranda began to clap and cheer. Weeks later, the grand wedding took place in the same garden where Amanda had once helped Rebecca take her first steps again. It was decorated with white lilies, gold ribbons, and simple beauty that reflected Amanda's humble heart. Rebecca walked proudly beside Amanda down the aisle. No wheelchair in sight, each step a testimony of love, healing, and faith. When James took her hand under the morning sun, he whispered, "You're not just my wife, you're my miracle." Amanda smiled, whispering back, "And you're my answered prayer." The crowd cheered as they exchanged vows. The cameras flashed, the choir sang softly, and Rebecca wiped a tear, whispering to herself, Grace's child finally found her home. That night, after all the laughter and dancing, Amanda stood alone on the balcony, gazing at the stars. She heard the familiar sound of slow footsteps behind her, Rebecca and James together, smiling. James slipped his arm around her waist. "What are you thinking about?" Amanda looked up at the sky. "My mother," she said softly. "I think she's smiling right now." Rebecca nodded, her voice tender. "Oh, she is, my dear." "She truly is." The three of them stood there quietly, bathed in silver moonlight, not as a billionaire, a maid, or a patient, but as a family reborn through love and kindness. And for the first time in her life, Amanda knew she was finally home. Please like this video and subscribe to our channel for amazing videos.